Hello, dog lovers, and welcome to Mutts with Manners Canine Academy podcast, where we'll share dog training tips and educational information to help you raise your pup, young or old, so they can be a loving part of your family and your community for life. I'm your host, Corey McCusker, canine coach, and today I'm thrilled to have with me Lorraine Houston, who is the founder and president of Speaking of Dogs Rescue. Let me tell you a little bit about Lorraine and Speaking of Dogs before we get into what they do and how they help people. Lorraine, as a child, had a passion for dogs, which was evident. And she has officially and professionally been involved with dogs for over 40 years. She began her career at Toronto Humane Society in 1980. And throughout the years, her experience have included animal shelter work and management, animal control officer, SPCA cruelty agent, dog trainer, therapy dog evaluator, newspaper columnist, seminar organizer, and host animal advocacy board member, Hurricane Katrina response team, canine behavior training and assessments, and dearest to her heart, dog rescue and fostering. Wow, that is incredible. Also, I want to mention that Lorraine is a 3-time Maxwell Award winner for the Dog Writers Association of America. Lorraine has penned numerous magazine and newspaper articles in an effort to raise awareness about the plight of homeless dogs, the puppy mill industry, and the rewards of positive, force-free, motivational dog training. She launched Speaking of Dog Rescue in 2001, where an old friend from the Toronto Humane Society called her to come and meet a dog who was at the Toronto Animal Service and would benefit from a foster-based rescue organization. Lorraine, I am so glad that you have taken time out of your super busy schedule, as I've just read everything that you've done and everything that you're doing now. So welcome, Lorraine.
Well, thanks for having me.
We're thrilled to have you. And I'm a big supporter of rescues, especially speaking of dogs, as I currently have Sky, my Manitoba mutt that we got at 8 weeks, who's just a joy to our family. I think I met you years ago, though, when you were running seminars down in Toronto off of Eglinton. And I think that's where our first encounter came. So, you know what, I'm really happy that you've taken this time because I really want you to share with us more about the rescue and tell us how Speaking of Dogs helps dogs in need.
We help dogs in need through foster care, primarily foster care, dogs from animal shelters, primarily Ontario and Quebec shelters, although now we have branched out and we are part of a coalition that helps dogs in northern Manitoba. And we also, when we have a space, foster space, we can help owner surrender dogs if somebody can't keep their dog for whatever reason. If we have space, then we'll help those dogs when we can.
You talk about when owners surrender. I think that I know you helped one of my friends. That's how we reconnected, because a friend of mine contacted me and asked me if she knew anyone that could help her with her mom's 14-year-old Shih Tzu, because her mom had gone into the hospital. She had a senior dog, a large doodle at home that did not get along well or was stressed when there was other animals in the home. So I reached out to Diane Purser, who helps me out and is one of my education managers. And she said, get in touch with Lorraine. Speaking of dogs, they specialize in senior dogs. So we did. We got in touch with you. And, this is where the incredible work that you do is Bailey was picked up, brought into foster care. He needed dentistry, grooming, and he was on heart meds. Everything was taken care of. And I think he was in a brand new home with his forever family, and a 14-year-old. That's like a great thing if somebody is taking that in. But he went into a forever family. Kudos, because I think we all know that when dogs are rehomed, it's not easy, especially as a senior. Now, you mentioned that you were affiliated with other rescues like the Manitoba. So how does that work with the rescues? How do you support one another?
Well, we're also a member of Helping Homeless Pets, which was founded in 2006. It's an umbrella group for rescues who were maybe not large enough to have their own charity status with the CRA. So Helping Homeless Pets has always been a group of like-minded rescuers. There's a code of ethics, a code of conduct. So we've been a part of that since they started in 2006. And we also work with the rescues over the years that we've come to know and we've come to align well with. The Coalition for the Manitoba Dogs is a more recent partnership, but they're doing great work up in the Indigenous communities. And we are proud to be a part of that outreach and dog rescue endeavor.
Mm-hmm. And I think if I look at my life, I don't think I've ever gotten a puppy until I just got my Manitoba Mutt. That was my first puppy. I've always rescued, and they've come from different places, whether it was people like I worked at a vet's office and that. So can you share with the people listening that what is important that people need, or what do they need to be aware of if they are thinking about rescuing a dog?
Well, I think it's important when you come to the decision that you want to move forward with an adoption, you go to the application process, which is, for us, it's an online application. It's really important that people are honest and transparent about their lifestyle, their exercise capabilities or abilities, their experience with dogs and the other pets that they have in the home, because we take very seriously matching our dogs to the homes rather than the homes to the dog. So if you are really active and you want a dog to go hiking, then you know what, the 14-year-old Shih Tzu is probably not the best match for you. But if you're, you like to go around the block and you're, just want a buddy to curl up with and maybe, go out in the backyard and have a wander, and then go, at a slow pace around the block with some of our seniors, then match up your own lifestyle. So if you read something, doesn't like cats, and you have a cat, well, it's not helpful if you're not honest. So if you have a cat, you have to tell us so that we can help you. We want our dogs to find homes that they don't have to be bounced out of because somebody wasn't transparent with their application. So for us, it's very important that people are being honest with us for number one, matching up.
Mm-hmm. And can you share just a story or two about just some of the situations that you've had that dogs have come into your care where they either needed special needs or they needed a special home, maybe?
Yes, of course. So lately, we've been taking a lot of senior dogs from the shelters. If the people have passed away and nobody in the family or next of kin can take the dogs, then we will step in. And sometimes one of our latest cases was a man who had been experiencing dementia and lived alone, and he didn't have any family. So the his church group, started to get worried about him because he hadn't been to church and he wasn't answering his phone, and they were quite worried about him. And they went over to see how he was, and he was watching TV, but it was very evident that he was not in a cognitive state to be looking after animals. He couldn't really look after himself. So as it turned out, he had 3 horses, 9 dogs, 5 cats, all in quite deplorable health and condition. So between, I think it was 4 or 5 different rescues, cat rescues, 2 dog rescues, and a horse rescue, we were able to go in and help the man help the animals, which in turn, the church group helped the man. And he is now, thankfully, being taken care of in a long-term care facility. But situations like that come up, and we do try when we can to spring into action and help out. So in that case, the dogs were in pretty poor shape. Their nails were very long and curled. They hadn't been groomed. So they were very matted. And their eyes, we couldn't really see their eyes because the hair had grown over. We think that he had probably been forgetting to feed them. Yeah. So most of the animals were quite underweight.
Wow.
And, yeah. So situations like that are, what a rescue deals with, along with, other situations when it comes to owner surrenders.
You mentioned when we talked before this interview, and I think it's a term that I use when I'm doing dog training, especially with people that have gotten a rescue, slow and steady. Mm-hmm. So can you talk about that and really what it means? And, that a lot of these dogs people think are broken. So I just want you to touch on that.
Yes. I'm glad. That's a great question, Corey. Thank you. So we really advocate going slow and steady with your newly adopted dog and with our foster homes as well. Some of these dogs are shut down. Some of them are have anxieties from being uprooted from their home. They're stressed. They don't know who you are or where they are. So slow and steady, not putting too much pressure on them. Don't have a party. Or a big barbecue to welcome your dog. Please don't take them to PetSmart and wheel them around looking for toys the first day, or even the second day or second week. They need time to decompress. They need time to start to feel safe and to feel that they can trust and that they can move forward. But they have to do it on their own time. If we try and, rush them into things that they're not comfortable with or they don't feel that they can cope with, then we see dogs who will shut down again or be very hesitant to sort of trust your, what are you doing, your own judgment. So you want them to be able to look to you for good choices, for good decisions. And let's remember, these dogs are not broken. The dogs are, generally speaking, these are dogs, rescue dogs, shelter dogs, dogs who need a second chance, are dogs who are a victim of a human circumstance. Well, people move, people have kids, they pass away, they fall ill. So, you know what? These are not anything that the dogs can do anything about. So, I think we just need to keep things in perspective. These dogs are not up for adoption because there's something wrong with them or they're broken or there's somebody else's problem. Over the years, I've heard that so many times, and it is not the case. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important for people to understand that these dogs are here because of something that's happened to their human family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so true. And I mean, as I mentioned, I've always rescued dogs, and I mean, they're just so amazing. Once they get over that, whatever you want to call it, fear, or they're just not sure. But dogs just love to give love, like unconditional love. And once they get to where they need to be and they're secure in your family, it's just so rewarding. And if people do look out for rescuing or looking for a dog, and they take the time and they find the right match, it's just really, really rewarding. Now, you've mentioned the fosters a few times. So these are fosters that are taking the dogs in to help them adjust. Maybe the dog needs medical care or they need time just for you to assess, I guess, the situation. Can you talk about the foster program or your fosters and what's involved?
Sure. So our foster program is basically the heartbeat of our organization, because without foster parents, we really can't take dogs. So we don't have a facility. As many of you probably already realize, we are a foster-based rescue. Foster parents are the heart of the organization, as I say. These are people who are opening their heart and home to a dog who needs a temporary spot to hang their hat, so to speak, or to hang their leash. So the foster parents' responsibilities are to keep the dog safe, obviously, to assess the dog, to take them to veterinary appointments, and to report any concerning behavior or a medical problem that maybe the dog is drinking too much and therefore is urinating too much. So is this a dog who's really stressed, or is this a dog who has, a kidney or other issue? And they're also part of our adoption process. So when the dogs are ready for adoption, they will help us decide which home best aligns for the dog. They have a lot of input. And the rescue does take care of all the medical bills, all the grooming costs. Our rescue has accounts with various vets. so that we don't want the foster parents out of pocket. So we prefer to set up accounts with the vets that they're going to be going to so they can concentrate on the dog and report what's going on so that the vet can get to the crux of the medical problems if there is any.
So that foster program, it could be short term or it could be longer term, like a few months even.
Yes. And we also have a forever in foster program for some of the older dogs who come in and maybe they're not adoptable because they have, a lot of medical problems or their medication is very expensive or maybe they've been up for adoption for a really long time. And at some point, it's just not fair to uproot them when they're 13 or 14 and they've been up for adoption. They haven't been picked or applied for. And there comes a point where the board will make a decision to talk to the foster parent and ask if they would consider being the forever and foster parent for that particular dog. Right now, we have 15 dogs in our forever and foster or palliative care. Some of the dogs have manageable medical problems, but as I say, the medical or the medicine is expensive, or they need to go to the vet a lot for tests or diagnostics. And some of them are, as I say, have been passed over. So we just don't want to uproot them.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So how many dogs, I'm going to say, give us an estimate in a year that you would have in your that would go through the rescue and you find new homes? Like, what's the numbers?
So over the years, it's grown. At this point in time, we're probably helping close to 200 dogs a year. When we first started, we, took in maybe 20 dogs and then it's just kind of grew and grew, and the need and the outreach and the networking and having all the partnerships with, various shelters and we're 20 years old. So, vets know about, us, that they might want to tell their client to give us a call if for some reason they can't keep their dog or the dog needs a new home.
Yeah. Interesting. So you've talked about the care, you talked about the fosters. We know that it's expensive to have a dog. I'm going to say, just with my toys, the toys that I've spent alone are just ridiculously. I've got a puppy. But there's food, there's the care, there's the medicine, there's going to the vets, and this costs a lot. I know that we are trying to do from Mutts with Manners, we're trying to help as much as we can. So we have a fundraiser going right now. We've got 2 donation boxes, like big boxes, and our clients are great. They're bringing in, toys, everything, crates, leashes, blankets. So we also are selling pupcakes this month. One of our co-op students that's with us is doing pupcakes because her mom's a baker. And, we're just having fun with it, but it's also really good for the clients because they want to give back. So can you just talk about the fundraising and what it takes or what you need people to help you with?
Yes, thanks, Corey. And thank you so much to Mutts with Manners for all your support and for putting out the boxes and for, letting people know that that you're here for the rescue dogs and to be helpful. We do totally rely on donations to help our cause and to have toys and to have crates and food and treats for the dogs as they go into the foster program. As a new foster goes into the home, we give a package that includes the food and toys, and we match up the leash and the collar. So thank you so much for that. We're really grateful for your team and their support. As far as fundraisers go, yes, it is a constant fundraising mode that we're in because let's face it, it is expensive. You touched on the vetting alone is expensive. And when we take older dogs, they get dentals, they get their blood work done. They may have, like you were saying, a heart condition or diabetes or something that is an ongoing thing. And just diagnostics alone is expensive, x-rays, ultrasounds. So all these kind of things do add up. And we have a walkathon called Step Up for the Pups, which has been quite successful. And people seem to really like walking in their neighborhood or getting, a couple of friends together and going for a trail walk. Because we have so many of our foster parents, our volunteers, our supporters are sort of spread out everywhere now. We did start as a Toronto group, but we're sort of all spread out across the province now. So we started the Step Up for the pups so that people could sort of have their own walkathon in their own location and make their own fun with it. So go for a trail walk and then maybe go back to someone's house and, have a barbecue in the backyard with the dogs, or have a walkathon around your neighborhood and collect your sponsors. That's been a great fundraiser. We also have every week we have our Facebook auction on our Facebook page. So we're always looking for donations that people might like to bid on. So new items or gently used items or dog themed items are always a big hit on the Facebook auction. And that really helped us over the last couple of years. So we're going to keep it going.
Do you still do the calendar each year?
Oh, yes, that's right. So every year for about 10 years now, we've been doing calendar. And most people might think, oh, who needs a calendar? Because we have our smartphones or we have it right at our fingertips. But you'd be surprised how many people like to have a calendar hung up in their office or in their work or in their kitchen. And so it's still going strong. I'm glad you brought that up. So this year we did another calendar, and it was another home run on the calendar. So that was good. And we do hockey tickets. That was another great response. So we're always trying to think, we're really lucky, like very lucky, because we have great friends and donors and supporters who give us, Leaf Gold tickets and Facebook items, all kinds of things. Yeah. So it really keeps us moving forward, because if a dog comes up to our attention, please, speaking of dogs, can you help this dog? And then we read, the dog is 13, needs vetting, needs x-rays and blood work, and may need an expensive dental. I think it's important for us to know that we have the money to say yes. And we don't have to try and put a GoFundMe page up or something.
Exactly.
So we're very responsible that way. And our board wants us to make sure that if we speak for a medical case that's going to be costly, that we have the money. And we've just, we've had a fundraiser, we've got the money, let's take that dog, let's help that dog.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I just want to talk about your process, because I was really impressed when I went through to put my application in for Sky that we had. Now, I mean, yes, there was, you knew me from the dog world and that. So, I mean, but what I was really impressed was the process. You were very thorough. You made sure, even though I was a dog person, that, my references were called, my vet was called. I went and met the pup. You wanted to see what my home was like to make sure that I had the right, fenced in area so my puppy wouldn't get out. So I was really very impressed with the thoroughness that, speaking of dogs, went through, and making sure that, these dogs that go into your care are going into the right home. Because you did mention, how people should be honest and authentic. And I'll even say, me going through it, I was like, oh, what if we don't get accepted? I'm just like, I'm so nervous. But no, but we have her now. She's wonderful. And I just can't say enough about the work that you and your teams do, because, I mean, you are just doing wonderful work for these dogs that really need a home. And I just want to thank you for taking the time today. If somebody wanted to know more about Speaking of Dogs, or wanted to find out what dogs are available or the application, what's the process?
Okay, great. The process for adoption or for being a volunteer, and may I just take this time to add, when you were talking about the adoption process, I just want to say how blessed we are to have so many amazing volunteers on our team in general, but also on our adoption team. We have screeners, we have people who call the references. We have a great process, as you've said. Now, if you want to get in touch with us or want to know more about us, then our website is speakingofdogs.com. If you want to visit the dogs, you can also go to that website, speakingofdogs.com, and you'll see adoption dogs. Just click there and then you can see our dogs. Or if you want to visit our forever and foster dogs, you can also see them at that same site. We have a newsletter you might like to look at. We have a donation page. And the girls, again, a great volunteer team of folks, take care of our website, and they've really jazzed it up. So I hope that your listeners will visit us when they have time.
For sure. Okay. That's great. And what I'll make sure is in the show notes for this episode that we will put those links there so that they can go there. But you've mentioned a number of things, donations, not only monetary, but there's things that you're always looking for to help with the dogs coming into your care. Volunteering is another way, fostering if you qualify and you're the right fit and that you could help out the dogs. And then even just having these fundraisers or going to these fundraisers or purchasing the calendars. I mean, there's so many ways that people can help. And I think, it's just whether it's your time, money, or your donations of material things, it goes to the cause. And I just want to thank you again, Lorraine, for what you and your team do at Speaking of Dogs, because I do think it's a great thing. I mean, all the shelters and rescues out there. I mean, there's so many dogs that need home or need care. And, you've mentioned just the rehoming or the seniors that go into a nursing home and they can't take their dogs. So, just thank you so much for what you and your team do.
And thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, so I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. And if you want to know more or listen to other podcasts, you can visit our website at www.muttswithmanners.com. And if you need to get in touch with us, if you have any questions, you can email Corey, myself, Corey, at muttswithmanners.com. So thank you for joining us today. I really want to thank Lorraine for sharing with us what Speaking of Dogs does and the dogs that they help and what they've been all about. And just thanks, everybody, and have a great day. Thanks, Lorraine.
Thank you.